Jim, how are you?
Fine.
Okay, we have everyone. We will get started. Okay. So first thing is like we finished the object-oriented programming. We actually go through it, talking about a class-to-class relationship. So today we actually will move on to competitive programming. Okay, a new unit is unit 2 in APCSB. Okay. So this one is competitive programming. And along with the competitive programming, we will also cover the Java data collections. Okay, list, queue, set, map, heap. Okay, those kind of things are covered by competitive programming. So this one is a new unit. So let's go back to our training course schedule. So first unit, we are on the elementary programming. So we need you to learn the language itself. So we have you to work on the solo learn. Okay, so unit 1. So we teach you the unit 1. That's actually elementary programming. And then we need you to work on the language, to know the language well. So we use the solo learn to train you. Okay. So this purpose is to learn the language itself and then making sure you understand all of the language structures. Then we move on to unit 2. That is program structure, or you can say it's structure programming. This one is on if then else, while loop, for loop, also function code. Okay, that's the second unit. Third unit, we are on the data structure, but this one is very simple data structure, basically just array list. The array, and also object and classes. So this one, I cannot say it's complete data structure. I can only say this one is the introduction to data structure. But this unit 1, 2, 3 is the topic of APCSA, and right now the AP exam only tests up to here. Okay, and then there are topics that are not covered by APCSA. We have unit 4, and it's unit 1 in APCSB. This one is object-oriented programming. This was in APCSA before. So the purpose is to design class-to-class relationship. So the first 3 units basically is teach you how to design a function, how to define a class. And then unit 4, you start to explore the relationship of class-to-class relationship. And the reason why you need to explore the class-to-class relationship is that you want to build larger program. So now we go to the unit 5 for competitive programming. And this one, basically, we including the data collection and also the problem-solving skill. Okay, after these 2, the next one you will work on is data structure. And algorithm. Okay, that's a separate course. But anyway, this is what we have been doing so far. Okay, so today we will be, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit missed. Sorry. Anyway, today we will be continue on to move on to the competitive programming to do problem solving, to teach you what is problem solving and how to solve a problem. So in the previous chapter, we teach you how to use a loop, how to use a function, how to do recursive code, how to do using the program structure that we teach you, right? That's the main purpose of the having the coding bed. So the coding bed's main purpose is to make sure that you can use those structure well. But that's not enough to solve a problem. Problem solving is more than that, okay? So you need to learn some of these competitive programming skills. So basically, competitive programming including the user code competition, USA Computing Olympia, and also LeetCode, HackerRank, several websites, okay, Code Force. All of them are considered to be the competitive programming. Competitive programming actually is more or less it's actually more or less like exam based. Okay, exam based. So you need to know what are the tool and textbook that you can use, and then sample submission to the training set. That's what we will cover today. And we'll also teach you what's competitive programming. And at the same time, we will also start you on the data collections. So first thing is that you need to create accounts. So if you haven't created account, you need to create account. Okay. So the first account that I want you to create is the USA user code gateway account. This one is a training site for user code. So you actually try to register username and password. Okay. You get started from here, and then they'll give you a username and they'll give you a username and a password, and you log into here. But keep your username, okay? Keep your username. So for example, I try to register as ECHL 510, but that did not give me the Y510, they give you 511. So I have to use the 511 ECHL 511 account. But anyway, I use that as the email as my account. And then I get that account name, and then I go to user code website to open another account. So right here, I'm also using the ECHLU 511, okay? So I apply the account in the user code training site first, and then come to here, register for a new account. But this new account, I use the same username. So in this way, you can keep the two websites using the same username. Otherwise, the username can be different, okay? Then you will have more trouble. Is that okay so far?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the first thing you need to open such an account. So these two accounts actually give you the training site, and user code training site, I can say that it's actually covering the right material for you. So the chapter 1 is the material that you need to train yourself for the silver, gold, bronze to silver. You basically need to cover all these. Okay, they have all kind of material you need to train you. At the same time, you have other extra website you need to do training that strongly recommended Code Force and LeetCode. Okay, LeetCode is widely used for interview. So these two websites we strongly recommend. There are some other training sites, but not as competitive. Okay, Code Word is very competitive. This one is by HP, is good. Code Gym by Google is also very good. Okay, you can actually look into. But before you go to this different website, you need to train yourself for user code first. So each week, at least you need to do at least 3 problems, and keep doing that for a long time. Okay. So usually, if you finish APCSB, you finish APCSA plus at least 0.5 years to 2 years. Sometimes you can never get it depending on how good you are. So at least 0.5 year needed to be able to go into the silver division to pass the first user code level. But usually it's not easy to get it passed in half a year. Some students spend 1 year, some students spend 2 years, okay? So it depends on how well you train yourself. So you need to time yourself well. And what we can help you so far right here is just to give you the guideline of how to do it. As long as how you train yourself, you have to spend your own time to make sure that you actually follow the instruction and really work on it, okay? You need to set up your own time to do it. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay, so that's the account you need to work on. Right here, I do not help you to set up the account. You should do it by yourself, okay? You need to have both account in user code training and user code website. There is another website you can also try. That's called user code guide. This one is a new website. This one good or bad? I mean, depends on how you look at it. So this website, okay. So user code website is the official competition website for user code. Okay, so the user code website is for the official competition. This one is for it. This one, user code training, is a training site set up by some professor. Okay, set up by some professor. So I would say before 2020, this one is the only site that you can use for training yourself for the user code. But after 2020, they start to have this user code guide. This user code guide is set up by some college student. So it's a former user code competitors. They set up this website. So this website bring in some new idea or some new problem domain. That's actually it's good. But the problem with this website is like these students are not well calibrated. They are college students. So sometimes their problem is too hard, sometimes too easy. Sometimes they actually use a gold division problem in bronze. So recent 5 years user code problem have been very unstable because the problem is no longer designed by university professor. They are designed by some university kids. So the quality of the competition drop and become much and much harder than before. Because the problem is no longer calibrated. They don't care about the level. Sometimes you see a gold level problem in bronze division. Okay, that's the bad part. Good part is this user code competition become more and more competitive. Okay, it's not as easy to pass as before. Okay, this is 3 website. So you started with the training website first, and then weekly you need to do some problem in user code problem. There's a training. You can look at the past exam problems. This is a past exam problem. I suggest you to start it from maybe 15, 16, okay? 14 and before, that's too easy. That's actually making no sense. So maybe from this one or from this one. And going up, okay? And you need to do as many problems as possible because more problem you train yourself, you will learn more. Okay, you will learn more. The problem is not a single data structure or single problem kind of a problem. There are a lot of different kind of problems. Okay, so bronze division here, you actually cover the time complexity, data structure, complete search, sorting, set and map. As you can see, these are the topic that is a useful guide covered. And then greedy algorithm, some graph, and some computational geometry ad hoc problem. Okay, anyway, so these are the problem, but for the user code bronze. But I would say, because I told you the user code guide is not well calibrated. Still, if you follow this user code training site, it will be better. Okay, it will be better. Okay, so these are the 3 websites that we covered. Now let's continue. So the first thing is that you need to apply for this user code training site first. Okay, now once you get an account, you log in, you will see something like this. And then next one, you will do, you actually click on section 1. So section 1, it tell you what is the user code competition. Okay, you can spend time to read it. So there are some material, they will teach you what to do. And then second one, section 1.2, teach you how to submit a program to the website. So the first thing you can do is here, try to text a solution. Okay. So right here, it says that the version that they cover is C++, okay, up to 14. I think C++17 also supported, but 23, I think is not supported. Okay. And Java up to Java 11. Python 2, Python 3 being covered. Pascal. Okay, these are the language. Actually, you can check the website to see what language they are supporting right now. There are some other languages they also support, not only these, okay? But usually, bronze, I suggest students to use Java, but silver and gold and above, I suggest C++. Python is too slow. Python some problem. No matter how hard you do, you may not still be able to pass it because it's too slow. Okay, the first one is to do the submission for the test website. Okay, so what you can do is, based on your language, you cover the code, take down the sample code. Let's assume that you actually use the Java. So let me use the Java. So let's take on this section. Okay, because of the classical test, so let's create a classical test. It's all lowercase. For some reason, they use all lowercase. So right here, you just pass the sample program from the website. Okay, so this give you a sample program. But right here, this user /star, this is not needed, so we delete it. Next one is, I'm sorry, up to here. Next one, it require ID. Okay, this one is the older system that require ID. So for some practice problem, you do need it. So for me, say I use my ID ECHOU 511. Okay. Okay, and then here it use the reader, writer, whatever. This reader, writer, we no longer use it. So I'm going to delete everything they have. Okay. So I'm going to use the scanner. Okay, input. I'm sorry, I actually forget the file name. Let me recover it. I think it's test.in and test.out. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's test.in. Okay, let's redo it. Let me delete everything here. So scanner input equals new scanner new file test.in, okay. And then you need to write things out. So you need to have the print writer. Okay, then you actually create, okay, it uses ST, so we no longer use that. We actually do okay, so this one we modify it to our scanner and print writer format, okay? The website use an older system of whatever buffer, reader buffer. This one's still available because it is still in the Google, in the Java API, okay, it's still available, but nobody uses this anymore. It's an older system. Okay, after you finish that, you need to test the program. So the reason why we use the out, because that if you actually want to see it, if you want to see it from the output, from the terminal, then you can just type system.out to do it. So before you test it, you need to have an input file. So you need to create your own input file. So at the location that you have, you need to create a new input file. So create a new input file. I suggest you to use a normal text editor. So you create a text editor. For this one, you create a text.txt file. So you do test. And you open it. You probably, this is not a file you would use. Because the website usually use the test.in, okay, or some problem name.in. So you need to follow the format that I have, okay. The newer system, the recent 3-5 years, they take out the input file, but when you do testing, they may still need you to do that. So you still need to learn how to read from files. I'm sorry, I don't use Word. I would use let me open by a different tool. Let me use the Notepad++. So there need two integers. So you actually put two integers. So let's put 3 and 4. Okay, put 3 and 4. And then your file save as. When you do save as, you want to create a test.in file name. So here is normal text file. No, you don't choose normal text file. You move on to all types. Okay, and then you type in test.in. Okay, to save it. It will save you for the test.in file. Okay, anyway, that's done. So right here, you do have a test.in and test.text file. So to avoid confusion, you can delete the test.text file. Just close it. So this is test.text. I'm going to delete it. I'll keep the tester in only. So you will not create trouble. Now, we do have the input file and we do have the Java file. Okay, we have the source file. So let's run it. Now we are able to run. Okay, so you create 7 as the result. But this one is creating to the output to the monitor. So when you want to submit your program, you just delete this part. And then you save and compile. And then you run again. And then the file called test.out will be created. Okay, after the test.out created, you can check the result. You can check the result. Okay, you got 7, and if the data is correct, then you can submit to the website. So now it's time to submit to the website that you have. So that's usually you would have a choose file and send in. So that's choose file. So choose file, you go to your directory. And just choose the test.java file. Nothing else. Click open. So your test.java got uploaded, and then you send it in for grading. And then you try, and then you say, test okay, test okay. Okay, this is submission pass. Okay? And they do give you 2 test cases to test your result. Both work. Any questions so far?
No.
This is how you get started for the training, okay? Any questions so far?
No.
No.
So for students who haven't had an account, you need to create an account, okay? Some of you haven't finished the coding batch. You are not ready yet. So you have to catch up, okay? Otherwise, you will be behind by a lot. Okay, so that is the chapter 1. So you do submission of the solution. So this section 1.2 also have many problems and problem type. We will cover it later, okay? We will cover the whole chapter 1. I'll try my best to cover it. I don't know how much we can cover, but I'll try, okay? Anyway, that is the user code setup. If you don't want to do it, it's okay. Nobody force you to do it. It's up to you, okay? So this one is volunteering. If you don't want to do it, nobody will force you. Textbook and tool, there's no really good textbook. But there's one that you can refer to. I'm sorry. So this one, we do have a website that we recorded the past year's video and solutions. Let me show you. We do have this one called CS91 Competitive Programming Bronze. So this one, there are some textbook, Competitive Programming Handbook, Guide to Competitive Programming Training, Principle or Algorithm for Problem Solving. These are typical reference book. Okay, for example, this one, Introduction to User Code, is downloadable. Okay, so this one, as long as you have the website, you should be able to download the textbook if you like. Okay. Tool, you just need to use a BlueJ or your Visual Studio Code. That would be enough. Okay, that would be enough. Nothing else needed. Okay, that's about textbook and tools. These are the three textbook. We do have give you the PDF file for this one. Okay, maybe also this one. Okay, we submit the first solution. This first one we modify and submit already. We show you how to submit it. Now, next one is going to the gateway. Okay, your right is here. Okay, we are going to cover this later. Now, before we go for the problem, let's go back to our slices. So first thing is, let's look at, again, trying to understand what is programming then. We are trying to learn problem solving, programming, competitive programming. But overall, what is programming? This one for Harrison. So what is programming to you?
Like writing algorithms for like a computer or device to read to like do a specific task.
Okay. How about Kingston? What's programming?
Giving a set of instructions to the computer.
What kind of instruction?
Like, what do you want it to do?
What do you want to do?
It depends on the task. Like, if it's user code, then you want it to do something to the input to give you the output.
Mm-hmm. How about Jiang?
Giving step-by-step instructions to accomplish a specific task.
Okay. How about Stephen?
It's like using code to achieve or like create something new.
What's something new?
Like new solutions to problems.
You don't need to be new solutions. You can use the existing solution for it. Okay. The reason why I'm asking you this, what is programming really is the topic that we are going to cover today. You need to understand what is programming. So first of all, is AI programming? And what is AI? Okay, this question. I don't know how much you know, but Harrison, what is AI and what's AI programming?
AI is like artificial intelligence where like it learns based on like information that it gets. And like AI programming is like programming like the AI software to use like past data to like make connections and learn from the past data to make like new stuff.
Not bad. How about Kingston? What's AI programming?
You mean like using AI to program?
What is AI and what is AI programming?
AI is something that takes a bunch of inputs, runs it through like different like it takes inputs and it like makes patterns from like all like testing data and gives you an output based on that input. And
So
the
why
output-
is the AI different from other programs?
because it has the ability to learn from like patterns and like past data, but like programs are like objectively like what you type in. So like other programs can't learn.
Other program cannot learn.
Like artificial intelligence learns from like the data you give it, but programs like that aren't artificial intelligence just take an input and does like the same thing to it every time.
Do the same thing every time. Are you sure?
I don't know.
Usually not. Okay. How about Jiang? Can you comment on what's AI?
AI is a tool, like a self-training program that adjusts its like bias and weights to find like the best solution, and like it keeps training. And AI programming is using AI to actually program something really faster using like tools like Cursor or Windsurf. But I don't think programs and AI is much like different because AI are still made out of like math equations and codes.
Oh, okay. How about Stephen? What's your opinion about AI and AI programming?
It has like a math function, and then you give it stuff, and it outputs based on like the data you give it. And
So
then
what's the difference between the function? Function also is a math, and then you have an input and output.
I think it's like a combination of different function and methods.
What kind of different function and methods?
There's like different types of functions, like a linear
What
model.
different type of models?
Um,
Okay, this one I just trying to ask you what is programming and what's AI programming and what's AI to give you the idea, challenge yourself to trying to understand what these are. The bottom line is AI is just a piece of software, nothing different from normal program. Okay? AI has nothing different. It's just another piece of program. Okay? You just use AI to do this software to do some job for you, to do automation for you. But AI by itself is still a piece of software. It's still written by some engineers. And there's nothing different from normal software. It's just another piece of software. Just when you say operation system is a piece of software, compiler is a piece of software, database is a piece of software, networking is a piece of software, AI is also a piece of software. Nothing different what we talk about right here. And they are related. These everything are related as well. Okay, but bottom line is AI just the same as everybody else. It's still a piece of software. Okay. Then we need to know about what is the software related to programming and what is programming related to problem solving. Okay. Let's look at one example then. Let me erase it. Let's assume that we have a number x. And from 1 to 10, we want to find the minimum of x minus 4. And x need to be less than equals 10, greater equals 1. So how to solve this problem? Starting with Kingston, how to solve this problem?
It's like, can you explain it again?
Minimum of x minus 4 absolute value. X is between 1 and 10. So how to solve this problem using program?
You loop through 1 to 10 and put it in.
Loop 1 to 10?
Yeah.
But how about 1.2? If you try 1.2, I'll ask you another question. How about 1.15? Then you got trapped into a big problem of the number lines actually real number, they are infinite number of the data. You cannot use a program. You cannot go through every possible point to look at this minimum function. It's impossible that you solve it that way. Okay, you can say I have a supercomputer, I just want to try every point. That's okay. You try, you burn a lot of time, but I still tell you, your solution is still not good enough because you did not really try every point. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. How about John? Can you tell me how to solve this problem?
I'm not sure, but you can make it as a function, and just like he said, you can try to plot like with a specific width and connect those dots together. And if like as much, I mean, if the widths are like really smaller, the gaps, then it will become more smoother.
Can you try again?
You can plot out the dots with like a specific gap. For example, like 1 is 1, 2 is 2, and then you can draw like a line that connects between the dots.
Yeah, you
And-
say you try to do some plot that the Swedish list.
Yeah, and you can make the gap like smaller so that it
So
becomes
how
more.
can you be sure that in the between there's no one drop even lower?
You can't be sure.
You cannot be sure. So you go into the trouble of the real number issue, right?
Yeah.
How about Harrison?
Maybe like you could like solve it like algebraically.
How to solve it algebraically?
You like first set like minimum to like equals to like 0 and test if there's like any values, absolute values of like x minus 4 that's equal to like 0. And
Why do you pick 0?
cause 0 is
Sometimes
like
it's not 0. This one I pick is actually 0, but sometimes it's not 0. This one 0 would have a solution. Actually, in fact, that's correct. That's because x equals 4. It is a minimum. You would do this. But sometimes the line is not like that. Sometimes the line is maybe like this. Let's assume that x absolute value. Then the minimum is at the x equals 0. So it will not happen that this guy can be equal 0. So what you say solving algebraically is okay, but setting it to 0, that's wrong. That only happen when your minimum value happen to be between 1 and 10. That may work. Good direction, but that's not going to solve the problem. How about Stephen?
I think this is mostly plugging in values and checking.
You actually not providing any answer. Plug-in value, we already talked about it. You from 1 to 10. You plug every value, you cannot do everyone. Right?
Yeah, is it like going through and then you said sometimes there's a smaller value and then you find like a range and you make it the
You do not provide any new information. Anyway, this one is an example to tell you there is an optimization problem. You need to do programming for it, but the way you solve it, you iterate through every number that's wrong, trying point that's wrong. Solving it algebraically is okay, but before we do solving, let's look at it. Let's look at this problem. I'm sorry, let me erase everything. Let me redo it. Okay, let's look at this problem again. Your number starting from 1 to 10. So this x is between 1 and 10. This whole thing, we call it, there's a name for this. It's called the problem, we call it solution space. Solution space means that it is the possible value, possible input that you can have. So you can also call it domain, problem domain, where your x should be. That's your problem domain, solution domain. Everything inside here is possible. So if you do brute force solution, you do a complete solution, you need to search through the whole solution space. You try 1.01, 1.001, 1.00001. You try as many as possible point, but you still cannot be sure whether you got a solution or not, because it's a real number. You cannot theoretically go through every possible point. So trying now examples is not right. It's definitely not right. Even you try to jump by 1, that's also still not right. Because eventually you still need to narrow down to a narrower range to solve it. So programming, number 1, you need to know about what is your solution space. What kind of solution you would like to look at. That's number 1. Number 2, goal function. The goal function that you have. Minimum of the x minus 4. So because we are looking at the minimum solution, so we would like to see if this function is monotonously increasing or monotonously decreasing. So Kingston, is this function monotonously decreasing or increasing? Hello?
Decreasing.
No. It's monotonous increasing if s greater equals 4. Your goal function y is equals s minus 4. Your y should be equal to 4 minus x if x less than 4. So basically, there are 2 sections greater than 4 and lower than 4. Is that okay?
Yeah.
It's monotonously decreasing on the left side, monotonously increasing on the right side. So because it's monotonously increasing or decreasing, so I can say something. I can say one thing is that the optimal value, the minimum value will happen on this point, or this point. At the point that bend the value, also the boundary points. So you just try these 3 points. You will find a solution. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And now this problem is extremely easy. You just try 3 points and compare the maximum for it and minimum for it. Then you will find a solution. Okay? Now, originally you need to search through the whole solution space. Now you just try to find 3 points. The difference is that we use math. So we put a mathematical computing model into our program. This is programming. First, you model your problem by math. Then you would put your modeling from math model to a program. That's called programming. Is that okay?
Yep.
So first you must have a mathematical model that can actually solve the problem. That's what I told you. You need to always draw some diagram to help you to understand the problem before you do coding. If this one you go into the for loop, then you are done. You are actually already out. Your problem, no matter how fine you can do, you just waste your time because you can never find every possible point to check if it's minimum. Okay. But if you can read the problem and you know that the 3 possible minimum point is at either 1, 4, or 10, then you just try this 3 point, you can find a solution. So in a way, you do not go through the whole solution space. You just try 3 points in the solution space. But based on the mathematical feature, you know that 3 point, you can find a point that representing the minimum. So you are mapping a mathematical solution to a program. The whole thing is called programming. Okay? So step number 1. Step number 1 is mathematical model. So you here in the computer AI scientist, mathematical model. They do modeling. They do mathematical modeling. So right here, you need to learn good math and physics. Physics use math to model the physical field phenomena. That's the first thing you need to do. Second, you need to know programming for sure, and being able to map a model to a program. And then you solve the problem using your program. So this part we can call it coding. But nowadays, people actually already come up with a systematical way of mapping math to programming. That's a standardized large language model, LLM. So machine learning and AI, they can systematically map a computation to a program. So some AI company can do AI coding generation. Okay, so that part can be automated nowadays. Yes, that's true. But the AI itself still be a program because people write those programs to generate a code for you. They create a model, they create a mathematical model to mimic the brain function. So the brain's reasoning can be able to solve the problem just like a human doing. But in a way, humans solving problem pattern is the origin of the whole programming activity. You still need to do the mathematical modeling. You still need to do the programming part, except that the LLM nowadays can help you to reduce the time using the systematical way to solve it. That we call it AI nowadays. Is okay?
Yeah.
So if your math is bad, you cannot do CS. Just like we can waste our time going through the whole solution space, and then you are still not sure whether it's optimal or not. If you do well, you know how to model the problem, then you can go to the solution nicely in a shorter way. Okay, that's the purpose we want you to go through this user code training. Not because that you cannot do whatever you can do. You can do whatever you can do as long as you know the language. But the key point is not to just to apply some code to write some code to solve the problem. Fundamentally, you need to write the right modeling, the right math to solve the problem. Then the problem can be nicely solved. So how can we know that it's nicely solved? Then you need to analyze the complexity. How complex is your problem? How fast your program will do? That's why we need to do competitive programming. So number 4 in here, you also need to worry about the code efficiency. So please can hear me?
Yeah.
These are the core things that computer scientists care about. Whether you can solve the problem, whether you can solve the problem nicely, whether you can find a good hardware, say GPU, to solve the problem for you. Everything related to computing is our topic right now. We want to solve the problem in a nice way. If it take a super computer, it take a super GPU, it take a super TPU, we will build it, right? We will build it. As long as the problem is worthwhile to build, we will do it. But AI itself still be a program. Nothing different from your operation system, nothing different from your database. It still is a program. A program will need programmer to do it. Even though some part of the program can be generated by the AI itself, but there will still be some architect who handle the whole program, need to be able to know that what's going on here, what kind of things we need to solve. Okay, so user code training, back to the user code training. User code training, you try different kind of problem. You need to come up with a model. You need to actually try to do coding to map the model into the code. Then you need to analyze the efficiency, the send the process like what we talk about here. Is that okay so far?
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose of doing competitive programming, okay? Because nowadays, if you need a sorting, you can copy it from internet. You need to do a dynamic programming, you can also copy it from internet. You even send a program for OpenAI to solve it, they may actually solve it for you. Okay, even though there may be some bug, but you can fix it. That's another purpose of learning user code. or competitive programming. Okay, getting the code is easy, but what's behind the code? What is the core computation you want to learn? That part is more difficult. Okay, that part is more difficult. So, number one, today I teach you how to do a programming for the absolute value. Okay, but that's a mathematical model. I just use it as a simple example for what is competitive programming. Now, let's look at a different issue then. So we hear the word, you will hear the word ad hoc programming, greedy algorithm, dynamic programming, linear programming, integer programming, 0-1 programming, complete search programming, blah, blah, blah. You have tons of different kind of the way to solve the programming. These are taught in algorithm book. They are all kind of programming paradigms, but they do one thing in common is that they based on some mathematical model, and then you put that mathematical model to code, and then you solve the problem. For example, if you have the 0-1 programming, you basically just look into the problem in binary, possibly iterating all kind of 0-1 to solve the problem. If you do integer programming, you try to find a solution on the integer grids. That's integer programming. Okay, linear programming, you use a linear equation to solve the problem. Okay, so anyway, these are different style of the programming, and then in user branch, you need to cover these, some of these. Dynamic programming is silver and above. Integer programming maybe also, but maybe a little bit of them. Okay. Any questions so far? Any questions so far?
No.
No.
Okay. So let's assume that you actually trying to play tic-tac-toe. So tic-tac-toe, you do, let's assume that first stone, you put the cross in the center. And the next one, you may go into a possible different location. So let's assume that your circle can put here, right? So totally, let's assume that they may be 8 different possible combinations. And then out of the 8, they will have 7 different next step. So it's a cross, circle, cross, circle, cross, circle. So doing that, after 9 steps, you will have complete search. Am I correct? Hello?
Yeah.
So maximum, there's only 9 bin possible solutions. If you mark the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So first step, you have 9 variety. Second step, you have 8. So two people to play tic-tac-toe, the complexity at most is only 9 bit. So it's possible that you actually iterate through the whole solution space to solve the problem, doing complete search, and you know which step you will win, which step you will lose. Okay, so this kind of a problem is considered to be easy. So this is tic-tac-toe. But how about Go game? Go game, you have 19 by 19. So the first stone, let's assume the first stone is black. So you put somewhere here, black. So theoretically, this one, it would be totally 361 steps. You put every stone into there, and bang, that's actually not many complexity. So this one, if you do complete search from the step 1 to see if I can win or lose, by supercomputer, it still take a long time to do it. Okay, still take a long time to do it. So in a way, we are trying to minimize your error, minimize the step that you don't want to do. So some of the steps, if that makes sense, we don't go into evaluation. That's called pruning. Okay, pruning. You prune that tree. Okay, but even now, you go to the complete search, this one burn a lot of computing power. So people say that if someday there is a quantum computer, maybe these things can be completely solved. Okay, but so based on the complexity, you can estimate the complexity of the problem, how hard it is. Okay, in a way, programming is to map the mathematical model into the coding, and you try to find out a nice way to do it. That's the art of programming. Okay, so you don't go through the whole solution space to do it. You try to do pattern recognition. You try to do a lot of things to do it. Okay. Anyway, that's complete search. Now let's go back. Let's see. Okay, now let's look at this write problem. Let's look at this write problem in user code. So this one, usually when you come to here, okay, user code problem, it always has a problem statement that is. You always have problem statement and talking about Farmer Jones and some useful and from cow, okay? It's always like that. And then there's an example, and then there's an input file. There's a program called, this program is called write. And then there is a input file. They talk about the input format for you. Okay, and then they give you a sample input file. And then there is a output file you need to output. So output is spec go or stay. Okay, and then it talk about explanation. So this is usually the program structure like this. Okay, so this one, let's see. So there's an input file you need to put in this thing. So before you do anything, let's actually go to there. So this one, chapter 6, let me create a new file. Let me actually open the test in. So this test in, I just opened my Notepad Double Plus. So I'm going to create a new file. So after creating a new file, I'm going to save as. Okay, when you do save as right here, don't choose the normal file, you choose all types. So here, let's try write that in. That's the input file you need to be, and then you copy this. This is seen to the right that in. Okay, copy this to the right that in. Okay, so this one is your first input file you need to have. So that's a save. So the input deck is prepared. In a way, it's prepared. Now let's go back to the program. So here I'm going to create a write the Java. So write. Now I'm going to copy the whole thing from the test. Since it's similar, so let's actually copy the whole thing over. The newer version of the competition, they do not need the input. They do not need to put the ID. Okay, it's different, but right here we just copy using the traditional way to do it. Okay, making sure you can practice the website. So that's a test, and this one is called write. So right here you need to change your ID, your task. So the task right now change it to write. Okay, and then this input is write data in. Output is write data out. Okay, the comment not needed, that's deleted. This two integer computation is no longer needed, that's deleted. Output is no longer needed, that's deleted. The comment is not needed, that's deleted. So keep as simple as possible like this. So you actually start your deck like this. Now let's go back to the problem. So the problem say that there is a user for coming to pick up people. Okay, and when they pick up people, they will check your password. Okay, check your password. So password based on your word. So for example, you have a word called comment Q. Okay, comment Q. So comment Q is your input. The expected data is HV, GNG, AT, whatever. Okay, so you convert the AB data A to 1, B to 2, C to 3, something like that. Okay, so you convert every number, that's no problem. Okay, then actually this one is your word, and then there's a password is like this. So both of them do multiplication and multiply by 47. If these two have the same math result, then you will go. Otherwise, you will stay. Okay, otherwise you will stay. Is that okay? So if your password match, then you will go. Otherwise, you will output stay. So you are going to read in this thing. So that's actually, so let's look at it. Your program, the first line you will do is so you have the two string. Let's actually use the right name. Okay, let's use the right name. So basically, you actually have a group user code. So let's see, right here, it said that also the name of the group of the name of the comment are converted to the number. See, that's actually, take the name of group and the comment, then determine whether the group should go group ID, what is a group circle? I'm not sure. So anyway, so let's assume the first number is called format. Okay, and second one is called group. So let's call it group. Okay, the first one you would calculate the format's ID. So let's do integer format ID equals 0, equals 1. Okay, start from 1. It's a multiplication product, so you need to start from 1. Okay, so we do for let's see, you actually use a capital C from format that to char array. Okay, and then C minus A plus 1. Okay, C equals A, you would actually be 1. So C minus A plus 1. Okay, that's the number you have. This one is called the integer B. Okay, so CID and this course B. Okay, then eventually your CID modular by 47. Okay, that's the one that they want you to calculate. You multiply every number, and then at the end you multiply the 47. Okay, the same thing, you can copy it, redo it again. You can use a function, but here function is not needed. We want to save time, so here let's call group ID. Okay, group ID is actually coming from group. And then this one, GID time equals this, and it's group ID multiplied by 47. And then after that, you do system that, let's see, if CID equals group ID, then system that out. Okay, right here we can do this. We can do string message equals empty. Okay, you say message equals both else message equals state, and then you do system that out the print line of the message. Okay, that's it. This problem is simple, but just give you the idea of how we develop the first user code program. So it's go, okay? Now it's ready, and then you think you can submit. Then you delete the system that, making sure that you output to a file, and the output file is write that out, okay? So compile now, let's assume it's okay. Now, let's go to the website and then choose the solution. Let's use the write.java and send in. Okay, and then everything pass. Any questions so far?
No.
So this one, the solution space is you use a calculation to figure out the solution. Okay, it actually is most 47. So the answer cannot be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 46. Okay, only 46 possibility. But you do not actually go to test every number. Okay, that's not the way you do it. You actually need to use the modulation to solve the problem. This one, usually some students make a mistake is because that when they do multiplication, they use 0 and multiply. That's it, some students make that. Okay. Another mistake is that they do not convert this one. Okay. Anyway, here, this is just an easy problem. We just go through it, making sure that you understand it. Okay, this one is a simple example to give you how to submit the program. And also the first problem, okay? Then starting from there, they'll teach you what is the context problem type, okay, all different type. As I mentioned right here in bronze level, they do these probably only these 4 domain. Other problems, I simply number maybe other problem type would be other division. Okay. Any questions so far?
No.
We will go to different problem type to analyze it. Okay. Right now, just teach you there are so many different type of problem that you need to solve. Okay. Okay, let's actually go back to our slides. So we solved the first right problems. Okay, we solved the first right problem, then we would like to go into see what is competitive programming. Give you the idea of what is competitive programming. From time to time, we'll actually come back to other problems and also some data structure. So there are 5 different type of problems: super easy, medium, hard, and super hard. Okay. We don't know what kind of problem you will meet. But in bronze level, there are a lot of EHA problems. So what is EHA problems? Anybody know?
Is it like problems without a specific algorithm?
Yeah. So what that it really means?
Mm.
What that this really means? When
Like-
necessary or needed, or just like you say, it's done by specific or immediately purpose. So there are a type of problem that's called ad hoc problem. So number one is ad hoc, AD space HOC. This is one word. So space is a letter. So ad hoc is a Latin word. It means specific or immediately purpose, something like that. That's called ad hoc solution. Okay. So ad hoc solution is just like you have headache and you find Tylenol. And you can say Tylenol is an ad hoc solution. You kind of just know that this is a specific solution. You can find it and solve the problem quickly. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So some problem, if you do different way to solve it, it may be a little bit very difficult. Okay? It may be a little bit too difficult, but you can actually just follow certain ad hoc pattern, then that would be easy. So usually ad hoc solution is a solution that passed down by many generations, because people already know that the problem can be solved in this way. And you follow my way, you will solve the problem nicely. That's usually the way that we call it ad hoc solution. Is that okay so far?
Yes.
So let's see, AHA problem and those problems do not fall into standard categories. So there's no, you cannot say it's a dynamic programming, or it's actually is a what kind of programming it is. There's no specific pattern of what is the AHA problem, but the AHA problem just knowing that the solution is like this. If you follow this solution, you will solve it. That's actually AHA. So this is kind of not talking too much. It still requires some reasonable optimization and then some degree of analysis. Okay. So this is the AHA solution. So you actually do not learn much from these slides. Just knowing that AHA solution is you need to find some solution. Okay, anyway, they are AHA solution, they are greedy algorithm, they are different type of algorithms. So they are different type of problem, super easy, medium hard, and super hard. And there are some problem maybe require AHA solutions. Okay, number one, no limitation on the AP subset. So when you come to the user code, there's no more require you to just follow the AP set. Okay. But one thing still have limitation is that the server is only up to Java 11. So don't use too new version of too new. Okay, they are not supported by the server. Time is limited, 4 hours, usually 4 hours, 3 problem. You need to solve it within the hours. Problem size are bigger than AP. AP usually is maybe 5 lines of the code to 15 lines of the code. And then user code usually is 15 lines of the code to 100 lines. If you are over 100 lines, I would say usually your solution must be wrong. Too much. They don't design such a big problem. You need to care about the corner cases. Okay, these are the differences in the AP exam and user code. User code usually had the corner problem. And then the AP problem, they always tell you there's a precondition, postcondition. You don't need to worry about it. AP problem is easier. Okay. So they are on competitive programming level A, okay, level 1, the early one. So this type of programmer is that you read the problem and become confused. So tell people, I'm confused, I don't know how to do it, and then I don't know how to do it. So stay there 4 hours, they're not going to come up with any answer. Okay, that's the level 1, the early one. Read it, but do not have any trivial, cannot understand it, and cannot come to try the problem. Then there's a level 2, give up problem. You read the problem, you try extremely hard, this way, that way, and then eventually still cannot solve the problem. This is the problem, level 2 programmer. Not able to solve. Level 3 problem is slow programmer. You try this not very hard. After 3 hours, you solve one problem. You get everything passed, but you burn 3 hours. It's overtime. This is uncompetitive programmer, slow programmer. Number 4, competitive programmer. You solve the problem within 30 minutes for problem. Everything just done right. You are able to handle it within the time limit. So it's level D. Level 5 is very competitive programmer. You will understand the problem. You just keep typing and then you have everything done just nicely. So you need to come from step A, B, C, D, E, slowly moving you up to the level E. Okay, you cannot be level E on the day 1. It takes a lot of effort and time to train yourself. Is that okay so far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far, I see a lot of level A, B in our class. Some C and I I cannot say who is definitely D, okay? So you still need to work harder, okay? Anyway, our training goal is moving the type AB student to more of the CDE, okay? Some problems suitable for somebody, he can be D. Some problem he may fall back, become C or even B, okay? So you have to train yourself to be all around in all of the programming problems. That's why I want you to finish the coding bit and then move on to here to train yourself by more of the user code problem. Don't jump problem. If you jump too many problems, you are not going to get the good training. You may save some time right now, but you may waste more time later. Okay. Okay, so that is the level of the programmer. You need to move yourself up to the higher level. Next one is a big factorial problem. Okay. So we try to find the solution for n-band. So you can use a long integer or integer to solve it, but then you cannot solve the problem if the number become bigger. Okay. So then you have to use this big integer program to do multiplication for it. So right here, if you don't know about a big integer, then you're done. So learning Java is not just to learn the language itself. You also need to learn the library. If you don't know about big integer, basically this one you are done. You can never work on this problem. So there are certain problems that you cannot pass. So number one, you must know the language well. You also must know about the environment well, your library, the BlueJ, Eclipse, or JetBrains, IntelliJ, whatever tool you use, you must master your own tool. Okay. So number one, you need to type faster. Slow typers cannot survive in user code because you just do typing, you would eat up most of your time. That's not enough. You need to type extremely fast. Second, let's look at this golden ratio problem. You have 1 + 1 over 1 + 1 over 1. For this one, you also need to use a big decimal. So if you don't know about big decimal, big integer, you may be in big problem for competitive programming. Number two, you need to know about what is the recursion. So you need to come up with a recursive structure. We talked about this before, but here just showing you again, this is a recursive program. And you come out with the recursive formula, and then you put this one in coding. And you need to use the big integer to code it. So number one, you need to know about the language, the library of the big integer and big decimal. Number two, you need to know about recursive programming, the recursive paradigm, and then resolution. Okay, those kind of things. And then you can solve the problem. And if you are okay, you can actually convert this recursive program back to while loop. Then that will be faster. Okay, that will be faster. Okay, so we do have a recursive version. We do also have an iterative version. This one I do not go into the detail for these two programs, just give you the idea of how to approach a problem. Okay. So next one we talk about what is ECHA problem. So in bronze, there are tons of the ECHA problems. Next one is greedy algorithm. Okay, this one, I think we don't have time to go over it. Maybe next time, okay? Maybe next time. This one, we need to do the coding again to do Git. So this one, I'll pass it for the next time. Or you can work on it, okay? So how about this? You work on this one first, the Git problem by yourself. Number one, you need to apply for an account. And then you actually submit the test program and also the write the program by yourself. Also, if possible, you work on the gatekeeper problem. Is that okay so far?
Yeah.
Up to here, okay? Practice up to here. And then next time we'll cover this and some more problem, okay? Okay, that's it for today. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay, next one, I would like to talk about the timing. Timing this year's user code actually has some change. Usually the first meeting is in December, mid-December, but this year they moved to January 9th to 10th, 12th. So we do have a class on 11th. That's the first class we have, okay? Let's see. Let me ask you a question for everyone. So can you do, we don't have a class on January 3rd, but can you do it? Or you have a travel plan? Saturday, January 3rd, 8 p.m. Saturday, is that okay?
I think I'm free.
How about everybody else?
I don't know. No, wait, do you have class next week?
Yeah, if you are not okay, please text me as soon as possible, okay? We will cancel it. Otherwise, we can meet on January 3rd, even though I say we will start from January 10th. But if everybody is okay, we will have a class on 3rd. And then 10th, I will actually cancel it to allow students to do the first test.
We don't have class next week, right?
We don't have a class this week. We are going into the Christmas break. So this month we are done today. And then we will come back on January 10th. But if everybody can do 3rd, we can start on first session on 3rd. Okay, check with your parent, okay? I don't need you to immediately tell me you are available or not. So for the time being, if somebody do have a problem, we will move to January 10th, okay? Otherwise, it will be 3rd. We would meet you. Is that okay?
Okay.
That's one thing. Second, if you are behind in coding, that please speed up, okay? You actually, and also the homework, please speed up. Otherwise, you cannot follow. You actually will be behind other students. Okay, and there's a January, February, and then there's a third one, February. Okay, so 2 January meeting, 1 February meeting. I don't know why this year they have to rush in this way. And then there's a March US Open. This one's proctored. So more difficult, actually. Proctor means that there's somebody watching over your activity, okay? Anyway, so try your best on this one. We get started, but some students still behind, need to catch up, okay? Need to catch up. If you think that you are not okay to do this, I don't suggest you to go because not everyone's suitable for competitive programming, okay? Don't kill yourself if you not able to do it, okay? Okay, anyway, that's it for today. Good night and bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.